Hello, good morning, investor and corporate. Welcome to Set Digital Roadshow 2020 and 21 performance year-end performance review. This section will run about 45 minutes, including Q&A. Company will start the section by 30 minutes presentation, followed by 15-minute Q&A. And during Q&A, investor may leave your question in meeting room chat box or use raise your hand function. We will open your microphone so you can ask the question to the company directly. So may I now invite KRUNGTHAI Card Public Company Limited to start the presentation, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Today we have our CEO, Khun Rathin Simongkol, sitting here with us, and Khun Chuti Des, our CFO. So we're ready to answer all your questions. But before that, I will go briefly through the presentation so you can catch up with what happened and then what we did last year and also what we are doing this year. So this one, everyone already talked about us, and then we know I saw the name list and you know us already, so I can skip this page. KTB is still our number one shareholder, is the mother company of 49%. Our receivables structure is still quite the same. Credit card still majority of about like 65%. Personal loan is about like 32%. And now we add on the new one is the leasing that we acquired in the second quarter of last year. Is called KTBL or KRUNGTHAI Leasing. They are doing the leasing and hire purchase. And now we have the complete the loop of the consumer finance business. We do have credit card personal loan, which is clean loan. And now we enter into the unsecured products of the leasing, hire purchase, and the card title deed. And we talk more about it later. Rules and regulation is not changed since the 1st of August, the year 2020. That's the last change in terms of the interest rate. You can see that credit card currently is 16%, personal loan 25%, auto title deed lending is 24%. That changed on the 1st of August 2020. Credit card used to be 18% before that. And before that is 20% that you can see from the presentation that we have the interest rate cap history showing there. When the interest rate change, I mean the policy rate change, the bill can charge our customer. In the year 2020, after the COVID hit Thailand pretty hard, it's moved down to 16% on credit card and 25% from 28% on personal loan. So that one is directly hit our performance on the interest income of credit card and personal loan directly. And we show that on the financial performing later on in the next slide. On summary, you can see that total portfolio is growing about 2.8%. Credit card spending is quite the same par as the year 2020. NPL, we control it at 2.6% regardless of the high NPL of the leasing that we acquire. Cost of funds dropped to 2.5% and it should maintain about 2.5% this year as well. The net profit you see here is on the separate is higher than the consolidated that because on the KTBL listing that we acquired, we need to set up one-time provision last year. So the net profit is minus. So then when you consolidate it back to KTC of 75% holding, the net profit showing the consolidation of 5.8 billion. And for separate is 6.2 billion. That's how it's different. On the performance that we have in terms of the revenue, it's dropped about like 2.8%. You can see that mainly is dropped because of the interest income that I mentioned before, that the interest change from the 1st of August 2020. So when you compare this year to last year, the first 7 months of the year is 16% this year, and in the year 2021. And in the year 2020 is 18% on credit card and personal loan is 28. So that's the difference, and it shows in the drop in terms of the interest income of about like 4%. The fee income dropped because of the spending that quite not growing as well as we wanted to, is far as the same as last year or the year 2020. So the fee is dropped along with the spending. Recovery, on the other hand, we managed to gain more in terms of the gathering the bad debt recovery of about 4.7%. In terms of expense, we control it pretty well. And after the drop in terms of interest rate maximum that we can charge our customer, we adjust our credit scoring and the approval process, approval criteria to match with the risk appetite that we can take. Since the risk is we can charge lower interest rate to customers, so we adjust in terms of that. And the new customer that come into the portfolio is cleaner. And as you already know that we clean the portfolio regularly. So the portfolio require in terms of the less ECL, and it's showing here that we set up the ECL less about like 17%. That's the main drop in the total expense. This one about the funding part. We fund ourselves through the issuing bonds to the market mainly. 83% of the borrowing that we have is the bond we issue to the financial institutions, public, insurance, you name it, all the financial institutes. And it's ranged from 2 years to 10 years. On the average duration of the long term that we issue is nearly 4 years. That's the average. We go that far to 10 years that because we want to the rate for the cost of fund that we have not to move that much, to stabilize it, because the interest rate that we can charge to customer, we cannot do anything with it, is the rules by the BOT. So what we're trying to do is try to stabilize the cost of fund to not to be that flexible, not to be volatile. So the interest rate that we have, we adjusted according to that one in terms of the risk, in terms of the rate, in terms of control, in terms of the cost of funding. Currently it's about 2.5, and rating that we have by TRIS is AA minus, and the credit line that we have, including KTC, 18 billion, we have overall of 33 billion. Of the credit line, we use this for the short-term credit lines on and off with KTB as well. KTB also add on another long-term facilities for us of 6 billion. Currently, we use it about like 1.5 billion in terms of the long-term loan, 3 years. The rate is adjusted according to the market. And the bond that we issued recently, the rate is lower than what we have 3-4 years ago. So we target this year for the cost of fund not higher than the 2.5, should be roughly quite the same. The ratio on covenants on all the bonds that we issue is not more than 10 times. Currently it's only 2.3, so we can increase the portfolio, we can grow the portfolio without having to tap to the new liquidity. This one is the key financial ratio. I want to point out a couple of things in here. The cost to income and operating cost to income, actually the difference is the cost to income including marketing. You see that it's not moving that much between the year 19 to the year 2021. That's because of after the COVID, the activity on the marketing is not that high. However, this year, since we target higher spending, higher acquisition, so the marketing expense should be a little higher, and it's going to move up in terms of the cost to income ratio. Operating cost income ratio is the pure operating, so it's not vary that much. Another thing I want to point out is whatever related to the interest income. Because we are non-bank, so we can, including in terms of the interest in the financial statement, in terms of accounting, only 15%. So whatever higher than 15% is go into the credit usage, and that's go right into fee income in the financial statement. So if you look into financial statement alone, the average interest received gonna be quite low because it's only 15% in terms of the interest income. You got to read the MD&A, which we release every quarter along with the financial statement. And in there, we expect how much is the real interest. So the wording you see every time gonna be like interest received, including credit usage. So that's the whole interest income that we have. And it's gonna come out the number as presented here. Same as the net interest margin, which is have to include the credit usage as well. ROE is about like 25%. Another one I want to point out is NPL coverage ratio, because you're gonna see big difference in terms of the consolidated one and the separate one. That's because on the consolidated included KTPL, and as I mentioned before, the portfolio KTPL that we apply mostly is the TDR, so it's required higher in terms of the ECL. And for KTC is 400% on average. It's the same as in 2020. Dividend, we pay at least 40% of the net profit, so it's roughly around 41-42%. So now we look into our business. Currently, still majority is credit card and personal loan. On the credit card, you see here is the private consumption expenditure. I want to show it to you on the penetration rate that credit card in Thailand is only like 20% that people settlement with the credit card. So the rest is still like cash, money transfer. Debit is not that popular as yet. So money transfer is quite popular and gaining higher trend in terms of the settlement that people use to buy things. But credit cards only like 20%. So we see the opportunity that people using more and penetrate more in terms of using the plastic like credit card. So that's the opportunity for us to penetrate the market. The market share we currently have for KTC is the number of cards. We have 10% market share. But if you look into the spending, we have 12% market share in the spending. The portfolio, we have about 13% market share. And on credit card, this one I want to point out on acquisition channel. You can see that KTB is the one that we synergizing with, and they are bringing in the new application to us. About like 35% of the application come through KTB channel, and 43% is the outsource sale and direct sale. So that's two major channel that bring in the new application. All approval process is in-house in KTC, so we have our own credit scoring and all the approval process that we have. And the channel is quite the same for other products as well. On portfolio quality, you can see that we control in terms of the NPL. Currently, it's about like 1.2%. While the industry is about 1.8%. That's the NPL. We have the portfolio of about 60 billion on the credit card. And what are we going to do for this year? For the first couple of months, January and February, we see the trend of going up in terms of the improving and recovery. It shows good sign of recovery in the spending. And almost all categories that are going double digit year on year if you compare this year to the year 2021. And even the travel sector is go up as well, but still far behind the 2019 because it's rely on Thai only. Foreigners start to come into the country, but not as much as it used to be, and especially when Chinese people cannot come out of the country and not come into Thailand, so that's make a big impact. What we are focusing on this year is we're focusing more on the higher income segment. We are very strong in terms of the mass customer and category on mass. And now this year we target for the higher income segment to gain more market share in that segment as well. On personal loan, as mentioned before, the acquisition channel quite the same. Direct sale and telesale is the highest of 54% that bringing in application. KTB is about 40%, and the same thing. Credit scoring and the approval is in-house. We have the portfolio of nearly 30 billion on the personal loan. The market share is quite small. We have only 4% market share on personal loan. The portfolio quality is par with the industry. We have the NPL of 2.9%. Industry is about 2.7%. And for personal loan this year, we go more aggressive. We want to go about 7% in terms of the growth of the portfolio growth. And we target higher income on the customer as well. Usually the income for personal loan customer is between like 1200,000 a month income up to about 30,000 a month income. That's the majority of the personal loan portfolio of KTC. So we want to go higher income than that. That's what we are focusing on. And we increasing credit line uses for existing customer. If you have good credit history, then you will be qualified to increase the credit line. That's promote the spending on the personal loan. And this one got more questions than the rest of the products because it's a new product that we're focusing on this year. We target the growth of KTC people, which is the car title deed lending and including the leasing and the high purchase on car and motorcycle. So this one we target this year of the 11 billion growth in terms of the portfolio. Currently is very small. We just started KTC people about a year ago, so during the COVID time, so it's not growing that much. Currently, last year is only like 500 million. So we target 11 billion this year. So we go aggressive on KTC people. We synergize with the KRUNGTHAI Bank. So KRUNGTHAI Bank have nearly 1,000 branches all over Thailand. So the employee of KRUNGTHAI Bank gonna be the lead for giving us the lead on customer all over the country. And the customer can utilize KTB online channel as well, the KRUNGTHAI Next. And we also launched KTC People Cash Card. So the customer not only get money in the bank and then that's it, but they also get the cards which they can use to cash out, spending, and do the asset installment. So give them more flexible and it's not flexibility to the customers that serve their need. And we expand the acquisition channel to KTL branches, our own direct sale, telesale, and as mentioned before, all the KTB branches and KTB employees as well. So we quite aggressive on this product this year. All in all, in a summary, we target net profit not less than last year because the personal loan going about 7%. KTC people growing about like 11.5 billion. The portfolio total gonna be higher than 100 billion. And the quality of the portfolio, even though we go aggressively, we target the portfolio quality to stay the same of at least not going higher than 3.6%. So that's the summary of the target that we try to do this year. And now the sustainability. We are in the upgrading. We got upgrading from MSCI ESG rating to AA. And we also listed in the FTSE4Good Index. And another one thing that's just come up this year, and we so proud of it that we are recognized as a company committed to sustainability. We are listed in the sustainability book of the S&P Global. And in terms of national, we are listed in the TSSI index. We have the 5-star excellence CG scoring of the IOD, or the Thai Institution Directors Association, that's the local in Thailand. And we are in the ESG 100. We are also the member of CAC, this anti-corruption. And for the standards in terms of the business, we have the ISO of the 27001, and also we have the ISO of 27701. And we are adopting the international standard of reporting framework on the GRE standard. Then we do the all the ESG. So we are really focused on that one into our process.
Okay. There are no questions. The section has come to an end. So on behalf of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, I would like to thank you, investor and corporate, for joining the conference. We look forward to welcome you all again. Thank you very much and have a good day. ขอบคุณค่ะ